Hello and welcome to another Kipinä podcast. I have a great visitor today, Matti Malkamäki, the chairman and founder of Hiekka. Matti, great to have you with us.
Thank you. Great to be here.
Can you introduce yourself?
Sure. Matti Malkamäki is the name, as you said. I've been now a bit more than 20 years a clean tech entrepreneur. Before that one in the power generation business and so forth. A lot to do with hydrogen, especially nowadays, so that I'm in the steering groups of several hydrogen associations or clusters here in Finland, and also quite active in the European hydrogen scheme, if you will.
Sounds pretty interesting. How did you end up being in the energy industry?
Ooh,
it's a tough one.
That's a tough one. But I don't know. I mean, I studied in the University of Oulu, and for some reason I did found the power generation quite interesting. I made my diploma thesis to Neste Porvoo oil refinery, and after that one I found myself working that time for IVO, nowadays Fortum, and was quite heavily active there especially on the turbines, steam turbines and gas turbines. Lived a couple of years in UK, but that was really like that's a new change that was happening there at that time. So that there were a lot of IPP, independent power producer plant that were being built in UK, and the whole power generation went through this liberalization, so that there were a lot of private companies instead of the monopolies and so forth. So it was sort of I don't know. Thought that okay, this is like my place. A little bit like an old tech, but transferring into something new. And then, of course, after that one came the clean tech, a bit same way.
Okay, so one thing led to another,
Yes.
And here we are today with Hiekka.
Correct.
I think the energy area is quite of a hot topic at the moment because of the Ukraine situation and also the gas industry and all that. But also you said that the Hiekka aims to be quite sustainable also because it's green energy. Am I right?
Well, we don't produce energy per se. We produce hydrogen.
Oh, sorry. Yes, hydrogen. Yeah.
So no worries in that sense. I mean, people nowadays really do think that okay, hydrogen is or equals to energy, but in reality, what Hiekka is doing actually is that we are going to or our aim is to decarbonize the industry, so that the hydrogen, the clean hydrogen without any CO2 emissions that we are producing, we sell that to industry, and that's typically used as a raw material. But of course, with hydrogen, you can do power as well, or power and heat, in case you want. So.
Okay, thanks for correcting my.
No worries, no worries. I mean, this is general. I mean, people nowadays they read the magazines and especially the tabloids and so forth. They don't often reflect the real situation that where the industry really is, so that it is quite common.
Yeah, thanks for clearing that up. And I remember reading from your website that it's called pure hydrogen and pure carbon. Can you open these up a little bit? Well,
Hiekka is producing the hydrogen out of methane, so that we decompose methane, whether that's methane from natural gas, from biogas or from industrial side streams. We can also decarbonize some other light hydrocarbons, but let's not go into the chemistry.
Yeah.
But anyway, so when we split that methane molecule into its elements, so that we will have then hydrogen and we will have carbon, but the carbon comes out in a solid form, so that there's no CO2 born at all. And then this carbon we can use in several other industries, like for example for battery production or from different kinds of electronics and so forth. So there's a lot of carbon nanotubes, graphites, so forth that are really useful for that industry.
Yeah, so basically limitless possibilities for the pure carbon. Yeah.
Yes.
Where are you at the moment with Hiekka, and what are your future expectations for the company?
Oh, asking the future expectations from the founder. The existing situation is so that the company was established 2020. And now we are in a phase so that we are having something like 20-25 people working for the company already, so that we have grown quite substantially. We started the operations here at the University of Oulu. I mean, in this how you call this university center of Kokkola. And we used one laboratory here. Then we expanded that to a little bit bigger laboratory, and eventually made the pilot plant that is now at the Kokkola Industrial Park. The company has grown so that we are not here in the university anymore or anywhere else in Kokkola, but we have like 3 locations: laboratory, the pilot plant, and the offices there at the Kokkola Industrial Park. And the future, well, the short-term future is so that we plan to, or we have started the permitting processes and so forth, so that we are going to build industrial-scale demonstration site, customer sample facility, as we call it, to the industrial park.
Nice. Sounds fascinating, because it's kind of a revolutionary also in Kokkola. I think that you are the only ones who are working with hydrogen in the Kip area at the moment. Or
no, not exactly. I mean, there's a company called Voikoski in Finland.
Of course, yeah.
And they have a electrolyzer plant, so that they're splitting water into hydrogen and carbon at the site, and the local industry is using that. But now there's a lot of new industries coming there on the side, and the need for hydrogen is growing really rapidly and really fast.
Interesting. What are the plants using the hydrogen for?
Well, it is using for reduction of the cobalt, and for all the other materials that they are processing there at the site. Then there's the new player Caliper, for example, coming there that aims to be carbon neutral, to my understanding, and they want to use hydrogen as a process energy provider, so forth. So I'm not, of course, completely knowledgeable that what exactly they want to do, but this is just what we have learned from the papers. Yeah,
and you are just delivering the raw materials for them, and they can.
Yes.
Okay, perfect. You said that the Hakamite has grown quite substantially lately. What kind of a leadership culture do you have in Hakamite at the moment? How do you lead the people there?
Leadership culture.
Easy questions.
Yeah. It's good to start on Monday morning with things like that. The leadership culture, if I may take a step back here, so that we are going back to where, I mean, what I have done in the past and so forth, and when I'm just one of the 3 founders that what we have in the company. But of course, because I have the longest career in the entrepreneurship, being there with the startup, so perhaps I was helping a bit more on the leadership side than the others. So what I've learned, I've been entrepreneur here in Finland and in most of the time in Germany, so that in order to move things and in order to get this momentum created into the company, you really need to be open in that sense, so that you need to hire such talents that you can give freedom, or at least as much as you can, to make their things the way that they want to do the things, and they want to drive the company forward. So I would say that the leadership culture in this kind of young company has to be open. It has to be so that it's, of course, equal, so that all the, and I don't mean just equal in terms of sexes or something like that one, but equal in that way that also the newcomers are given their right to speech, and there's no this kind of hierarchy within the group, so that who is telling and from whom the idea is coming from, and then we decide that whether that's good or not. No, that's not the way that how it should work. So it has to be open and equal and professional, so that always based on facts and this kind of stuff. Otherwise, things can go really wrong in a really early phase. Yeah,
really sideways. So basically, a leader in your company just shows the way that the people are moving to, and have the and the employees have the kind of open ways to figure out what are the tools that we're going to use so that we can achieve that goal or that place that you want to go?
Yeah, I think that it's a process of communication, so that the situation is usually that way, that if you this is one of my phrases, so that in case you have 12 mishaps in your company or misleading, mismanagement situations, then 13 out of those 12 are because of bad communication, and the 13th is just something that we don't know yet.
Yeah.
So because no communication, but anyway, so that if we have an open communication, we create tools for that one, and we don't start hiding things from each others, and we have the same so to say game rules of the game for everybody. Then it is easier for people to start, talking and moving forward and so forth. And you also should create, especially in the startups, you should create this kind of environment where making mistakes is actually something that you should celebrate.
Of course.
So,
yeah.
so I mean, if you don't make any mistakes, then you don't try hard enough. That's just so.
So you're not like playing it on the safe side of that, or you don't like to play on the safe side. You have to take chances and do mistakes so that you can learn and evolve.
Yeah, and it also, I mean, and this evolvement, people usually take that, okay, it is only so that if you make a mistake, then you learn that, okay, well, we tried this kind of technology or equipment or process or whatever.
Yeah.
It didn't work, so now we know that it doesn't work. Let's take another one. Okay, but that's just the technical part of it. The other part of it is that if you allow people to make mistakes, then they also feel that, okay, they are confident. I mean, personally, in that sense that there was a mishap that happened. I mean, it can be not only like a technical situation, but it can be, for example, that way that there's a new company, new person coming to the company, and he or she says that, okay, let's do this, and starts doing that one, and then later on realizes that, actually I stepped on the other people's toes and so forth. But if you say that, okay, well, that happens, so that don't worry about it, let's clear the situation, and now you know that we already, instead of that this is a football game where everybody runs, behind the ball, this is so that we already have these different areas that we are taking, and that is your area. So now you know. But if there's no, so to say, punishment.
Yeah.
In the business situations, you never punish anyone. But
no.
But this kind of even mental, so to say, situation like that one, then of course the people are seeing that, well, okay, that happened, but no worries. Tomorrow's a new day, and nobody has hard feelings. Okay,
sounds good. So basically, you're creating a safe space for them to do their own thing, and good things will follow.
Yes.
Sounds pretty simple, but in a way, it kind of makes total sense because it's an environment that pushes you and gives you comfort to do your own thing.
It sounds simple, but typically in the life, the simple things can be really damn hard.
Yeah, I know.
So when for example, we the founders, I mean, we are three. I'm only man, and then there are two ladies working together with me. So when we three, for example, see that someone has made a mistake, of course, I mean, we are human beings. Of course, the first thing would be that, okay, now I need to go and, really give her a speech that, okay, never ever do that again. But instead what you should do is that you should, calm down.
Take a breather.
then just, really remember that, okay, these are the values that we work for, and this is the way, and so forth. It comes easier every day, of course, but it is really difficult sometimes.
Yeah, and I think it's also a process that lives on and bases on the values that the company has.
Yes.
How would you define a good employee?
A good employee. Usually, this kind of speech starts with a phrase that, okay, he or she has to be competent and so forth. But I think that the most important thing in startups like what we are now doing is that you need to have a person that fits to the team. That is the thing number one. So that if you have a specification that, okay, we need an engineer of this kind or whomever of that kind, then the first thing would be that, okay, we have these, say, 5 candidates that we are going through, and those that come to the level or reach the level that where their competencies are on the level that, okay, they will be interviewed. So you know that their competencies are already sort of on the right level. Yeah. Not perhaps like a exact match, but almost. And in this case, quite often the people that are interviewing these candidates, they are seeing that, okay, out of these 5, we need to pick up the one that is the exact match. But I think that that's wrong. I think that what we should do there is that we should find the exact match or matches for the team, and then see that how they are working. So that we, for example, what we have done is that there was one position that we had open, and we decided that the founders that were waiting together with the recruitment specialists were in one negotiating room a little bit further away from the office. And then there was a person, a young lady, that led these people to the office. And that was also part of the recruitment process, so that we wanted to see that how they are, working together with this young person that is already a valued team member. But yeah, you saw that, okay, there were a couple of persons that, okay, never.
Okay, so straight away no.
Yeah, straight away no. Even though that, technically they were like really okay, but
it's
not.
the personality that doesn't fit in the team. Yeah. So basically, it's like team building.
It is team building.
Yeah.
That is, of course, startup per se, what that means is that, okay, you are a startup so that you are building everything, team, the business, the technology, everything. So,
yeah, I think that the business in overall is starting to think that more. It's more of a team effort that we can push and develop our businesses rather than picking up the best guy from the Aalto University, for example. So it's important that you have a strong basis and everybody working together and being happy to work together. Also.
Yeah.
Well, then from employee to a good leader, how would you define a great leader? Or a good leader? We can start with a good leader so we can evolve to a great leader afterwards.
I think that, first of all, I don't think that there's just one type of good leader. Every situation, every company, every thing needs different kind of leaders. You referred to the situation, the war in Ukraine, in the beginning of the cast, and there, the leadership that is needed there is quite a bit different than what we are needing in a startup, for example.
Yeah.
So therefore, there are many ways being a good leader. It's a match. It has to be a match for the situation, for the company, for the team, for everything. So what I can do only is that I can speak on behalf of startups and so forth. And in my case, for this kind of situation, I think that the good leadership is something that where you understand that you are also, as I said earlier, so that you are not only building the business or the technology, but you are building the team, and perhaps even more importantly, you are building the culture of the company. So you need to understand this, that okay, we are doing it that way, and then as one of the very good leaders on my career in the past, he said to me that typically the leaders or the managers are giving, especially in the larger corporations, are giving responsibility for the team or for the persons, but it doesn't work that way. Because if you give responsibility, you need to give freedom as well. And if without the freedom to make the decisions and so forth, you can't be responsible on anything. It would be insane. So I think that the good leadership starts from these elements.
Very, very good points.
Yeah.
And I think that the leadership in general is also evolving to a more of an HR-like leadership style, that you don't just see the numbers, but you see the persons behind the numbers also. And I think it's a good thing in general.
Yeah, and I think that the HR is something that people are. I mean, again, in the startup genre, people are talking that, okay, when do we need the HR manager or someone responsible for the HR? And you hear, discussions about that one. That okay, when you have 50 people or more, then managing that 50 people, you need to have someone. But I actually think it a little bit opposite way. So that I think that you should have the HR manager before your team is 20.
Okay.
So we already have one, and the reason for that one is that, again, you are building also the startup. I mean the team in the startup, so that without the good HR manager that knows and sees the people and has time to discuss with them, because the management usually doesn't have. I mean, they are busy with their other stuff, and then the team is being left out. The people that are actually doing the work, so that it would be better that if there's someone that is given the task that, okay, you are the ears of the company, not only to that way, but to this way as well. So that you need to be the one that brings these small messages to the management team, to the leadership team, before they are bigger issues.
It kind of makes total sense, because when you are a startup and you're basically doing the foundation of your company, that will probably in 5 years you will have 50 or 100 employees. So the basis that you do today will be profitable in the future as well.
Yes.
Perfect. Let's talk a little bit about mentorship. You said that you have had great leaders in your career, but have you ever had a mentor yourself?
Mentor, the way that it is nowadays understood and so forth, not perhaps really.
Yeah.
But there have been managers on my career or some people that have taken a little bit more care about me than the others. So that I said that when I started at that time Imatran Voima, I was participating in this group that was young, whatever people that were sent then to be expats, live elsewhere and do and learn and create something new. And we had these internal training programs, and we had there were some people that then were guiding us a little bit more closely than the others. And I had like a company internal mentor then, and this, for example, this freedom responsibility discussion came from him. So in that sense, yes, I have had some, but not really so that there would have been a person that I would have discussed like monthly, almost like a psychotherapist.
Yeah, like you have been given advice from here and there, and you have been the best part or something. Yeah, perfect. What are the best kind of guidelines you have for leadership and for life? We have talked about leadership. Let's talk about life in general. If there was something that you would like to say to 20-year-old Matti, what would it be? Just one thing.
You sure that I don't get my other cup of coffee before we continue?
Sorry, maybe afterwards.
I actually thought about this one some time ago. So that if there, would be a possibility to say something to me, I decided that I would not say anything, because I don't think that there's a single thing that I would say or do like that one that would be like a magic word, a silver bullet, that okay, then everything would be different. I actually do like what I've done so far and what I have achieved, so that I've seen life in the larger corporations. I've seen the life in the larger corporations doing international business. Lived a couple of years, and as I said, as an expat there. Started after that one my first own company in 2002. for clean tech, and then moved that company to Germany in 2005. Moved myself there 2007, and just now last year came back. So I spent like 15 years there, and I've learned a lot in this way, and I think that I've also been able to achieve, not a lot, but something.
Yeah.
And I mean, there are things that I do regret, but those are business decisions. So that, okay, looking backwards to something, so why we didn't do this or that, or something else, because with that kind of information that we had on those days, we put our money on some things that later on were not perhaps the right decisions. But this is always so. You at the moment we don't know, for example, that how the hydrogen world will continue. So what will be the real situation there? But I mean, no, you can't just say a one thing.
Yeah. And basically everything that life throws at us, it kind of builds us to the point we are today, and we can always choose another path if we want to.
Yeah, and 20-year-old me, I mean, he was just a child.
Yeah.
I mean, I think that I grew to some sort of maturity when I was 30 or so, I think. So before that one, the whole life felt that, okay, it's like a miracle story or something, and a big adventure and so forth. But only then I started to realize that, hey, I need to be a bit more down to earth and start thinking things a little bit differently and all this kind of stuff. And then after that one, what started to happen was that I started to see that actually the values are important, but without that development, if I, for example, would say to 20-year-old Matti that, okay, this is the value that I have now, so then follow that one, and he would have thought that, okay, what an ass.
Yeah, but we never know how we evolve, and I think it's a good thing that we kind of keep on open minded and not just go straight a railroad and just figure out who we are and what we want to do in life.
Correct.
Now let's go to an interesting question that I ask from our every guest who comes here. Two great leaders, Steve Jobs and Elon Musk. Which one would you choose over one another?
And I thought that I listened to your podcast. Can I say none?
You can actually, if it's an even.
Because they are. I do value them both, but I think that Steve Jobs, I mean, he was a genius of his own kind, and he was really able to do a lot of good stuff and so forth. But this micromanagement sort of thing that what he was famous for is something that I don't share.
Yeah.
I just think that if everything would need to go through one guy, then it is just not right. So that is my take on that one. But as I said, so that I do value him still. Elon, I also do value him. I've actually met him.
Oh.
I mean, it was just one case in Berlin. I was one of 2,450.
Okay.
No, not that big mass, but there was an opening of the first Tesla shop there.
Oh, nice.
In that situation, but he's also a great visionary, and he's been able to achieve a lot. But the way, I mean, he's having some sort of or some good values. I think that he's much more professional and much more sort of a good guy than the people are thinking in the social media when they are talking a lot of bad about him. But the way that how how the companies, for example, Tesla and so forth, how they have treated their employees and so forth, this is just something that I can't underwrite. I just can't sign on that. So therefore, I would say none.
Yeah, so it's a tie between the two.
Yeah, it is.
And actually, this is probably a hard question because I have only got one plus for Elon Musk, and all the other guests have said tie as well. And
oh, really?
Yeah, it's an interesting setup. Let's talk a little bit about the Kipinä event that's coming up in November. What are your thoughts about the event in general?
Events, Kipinä events.
Kipinä events in general, yeah.
Well, I don't know about them.
Okay.
So as I said, so that I just moved last summer to Kokkola, and I didn't know about Kipinä events before that one. Before I met Erika, was it 2 months ago or something like that?
Yeah.
One. So it was a whole new thing to me, and I was like, wow, this sounds great. So here in Finland, we seem to have several this kind of leadership or other business forums like the Nordic Business Forum or whatever that is called. So I think that these are actually good events, and I think that Kokkola area, the whole region, will benefit from this kind of stuff, and I do think that is a great thing to have. But I'm open-minded in that sense, so that I don't know what to come.
Yeah,
what is coming. So
okay, we welcome you anyways to November.
Thank you.
In November to our event.
I'm having my wet ears on this one, so that I don't know really that.
Well, you're in good hands. We will take care of you when you come and visit our event, which we will give more information in the future, actually in a few weeks. Matti, thank you for the interview. It was very nice meeting you and learning new things about hydrogen and your company. I'm looking very excited about Hiekka and also how it will impact the Kokkola area in general.
Thank you. This was good.
Yeah, thank you. And we will get you guys on the next time.